Special Business Pants Disney AGM special featuring the great Doug Chia. This is going to be
what about
the
middling?
best.
I don't even get the middling Damian Rollis.
Yeah, well, we're with the we're the slightly average Hazelnut Rollis. I am your host for the moment, Matt Mascardi, your analyst hole host. But first of all, for those of you who don't know Doug, Doug is the president of Soundboard Governance and a fellow at Rutgers Center on Corporate Law and Governance. Basically, if the word governance is in it, Doug is a fellow doing it.
Like now on CNBC too. I just saw Doug on CNBC.
I tried to copyright the word. They wouldn't let me. I don't know. I was like, come on, I came up with this.
It's like us with sabermetrics. Yeah,
you
failed at that too.
You were assistant general counsel at Johnson & Johnson. I think you should know better. Is really you're the one who's supposed to know. So yeah, Doug is joining us. We are doing all Disney.
Isn't that what we usually do is all Disney?
I know it's been too much, but we are live streaming, and I'm actually going to share while we wait for the live stream to start in 8 minutes.
That's not exciting.
We are live streaming the Disney AGM, in which we're going to spend the first couple of minutes here setting the stage, and I'm going to let Doug do most of the talking, except that we know what's happening at Disney is a three-way in which it's like an angry married couple and a third party who's desperately trying to get in, but no one's really paying attention to. We've got Disney.
Three-way? Okay.
Yeah, I did.
We've got
Disney on one hand. Yeah. We've got Tryon, Nelson Peltz, really, on the other, fighting it out with Blackwell standing in the background saying, we're also relevant. We're here too.
Yeah. I think they're saying we also hate Nelson.
Wait, Black Rock? Black Wells. Blackstone?
Wells. It's something black, and it's not an all black cast because Nelson Peltz is not
Black Panther.
It's not having it.
Trolling Nelson.
So here's the short version. Nelson Peltz, for the last over 2 years, has been trying to get on the Disney board. He's
25
tried
separate
times.
Yeah.
He's reached out to them to get on the board. He's now using Ike Perlmutter's shares to get himself a slate, and he's taken an activist position.
A slate including himself.
That includes himself and Jay Rasulo. A second activist, Blackwell's Capital, has their own slate of 3 people that they've nominated that
nobody talks about except
no one
for
is
us.
taking seriously.
We're the only ones who care.
And Disney is out there. They've added 2 board members in November to sort of help stave off the slate. In James Gorman, who's Morgan Stanley's ex-chair and CEO, and Jeremy Darroch, who's I think he's a sir, actually. Sir
Yes,
Darroch,
yes.
who was the CEO of Sky. And they're trying to fend it off. And that's what's happening. We've covered it on the Proxy Countdown, which is one of our shows. We've covered it on Business Pants. Doug was on CNBC talking about it. You've been everywhere. You've actually talked to Tryon, who called you because their proxy solicitor who called you had no answers. So before we even get rolling, Tryon's trying to get you on their side. What did they do?
Well, first the proxy solicitor, they called my landline. Apparently, I'm the only one in the country who still has a landline.
Landline.
No, my mom has one.
And then I don't pick up. And then they text me. Wow. And then I made some joke saying, unless it's Nelson Peltz on the other line, I don't want to talk to them. Then I was like, all right, I'm curious. I'm curious enough. I got to call back. I've never been on one of these calls. I've just heard about them. And so I'm like, all right, I'm on the call. Let me ask some questions. Like, okay, why should I vote for Peltz? And they're like, he's going to restore the magic. I'm like, yeah, I know, but like how? Like, what's
a great argument.
What are his ideas? And kind of went into a bunch of stuff. But then it's like, okay, that was way beyond that person's depth. So I did a LinkedIn post about this call to explain it to people who have never been on one of these calls.
Like me, yeah, sure.
And then apparently one of my friends, who's a former activist, kind of told his Tryon buddies, like, yeah, this is kind of embarrassing for you.
It's not a great look.
Not a good look. And so I'm watching March Madness. I get an email from someone at Tryon saying, hey, I heard that you had some questions that you wanted to get better answers on. How about we set up a call? And I was like, yeah, okay. It's a week before the meeting. I don't know why the heck they're calling me.
Well,
But
you're the president of Soundboard Governance.
I was like, are you sure you're not, this is not like a wrong number to like BlackRock, State Street, or Vanguard? and we set up a call, and I can't name, I won't name who was on the call. I was really interested who's going to show up. But it was one of their partners and one of his analysts, and we talked at length. I basically was like, all right, I've read all your letters. I've read your entire deck. I just don't really see anything new or compelling there. They're 133 page deck. The first 90 pages are basically Disney sucks.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, that was.
And then they
Which
get
is
into
debatable, I might add.
Sorry.
Which is a debatable thought. I mean, when
Well,
you really
no, I'm
look,
just
when
like,
you
okay,
pull back
look.
and look at the entire industry.
Well, it's like, okay, look, I see all your stats. I see all the reasons why, these two directors are sleepy and dopey, and
Sure.
but like, okay, show me like what's going to happen, and then they start with their restore the magic plan, and I'm just like, this is not really specific. This is almost like kind of like 90 pages of you suck, and then a couple more pages of do better.
Restore the non-suck.
Yeah,
Doug,
just do
better. What
And
I
I'm
want to
like,
know from you, Doug, is what is the magic they're referring to? Is this is there a certain date? Is it a certain year? Is it a certain movie? What is the magic? Do you know?
let me.
I think it's when America was great before.
When it was great before.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me tell. So
that
here's
basically narrows
here's
that
some
down.
of the stats, okay?
Yeah.
Because I actually wanted to. I had the same exact question. It turns out 8 of the top 10 grossing films of all time are Disney movies.
From 1921. When was that magic?
I think the magic was back when Nelson saw Song of the South.
Oh.
That's probably
so the most
magic that he's
racist Disney
talking
movie.
about.
Okay,
Yeah.
I hear what you're
Of those 8, most of them were actually under Iger. They're like Avengers movies, right? Like 11 of the top 25 in the
Including Black Panther,
2020s,
right?
just since 2020, have been Disney movies, and that includes 4 of the top 25 are actually Chinese movies that aren't Disney or anybody, right? So when you're talking about American movies, you're talking about more than half of the top 20.
So it's safe to say that the magic
movies.
is still going on right now. Is that
11
possible?
of the top 20 amusement park attendances globally are Disney parks. In fact, they own the top 5. The largest global merchandiser or licensor of merchandise in 2023 was Disney, double the next competitor. I'm unclear what magic was lost.
This isn't like
money?
This isn't like Boeing, okay, where the literally you have
magic is
shit
gone at
falling
Boeing,
out of the
yes.
sky. It's
Yeah.
like, no, they're still doing all right. Yeah, people, over the weekend they were watching ESPN. Everybody watched the
Spent
probably
5 hours
the
doing it that
biggest
night.
women's basketball game ever
Ever.
watched. I watched the whole thing like beginning to end. The Iowa versus LSU
And that's Disney.
game.
That's the Walt Disney Corporation.
That was
right
on
there.
ESPN. Like,
Yeah.
ESPN, Hulu, Disney Plus. People are watching this stuff. It's not people are
course.
like, oh my God, I'm going to avoid ESPN. You can't. You can't,
Well,
literally.
I'll tell you, Doug, I don't know if you heard the show, but our analysis was that Disney is really the only media company that any activist investor can attack because of all the rest are either controlled by a dictator CEO or a family or something else. So this just happens to be the only company available for Nelson Peltz to stick his stupid ego into.
Yeah, I think of the media companies, right? It's the only one that they could, because of just looking at either one share, one vote, or doesn't have a founder on the board companies. I think it was Warner Brothers is the only other one, right?
Warner Brothers
Otherwise, you've got
Discovery.
Netflix with Reed Hastings on the board, which is one share.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Here we
Look
go.
at this. There's Mark Parker.
Call this meeting to order, and the
Nice
polls
sweater.
are now open. It's
Yeah,
my
where's he
pleasure
going?
to welcome you
Is he going
to the
skiing?
Walt Disney Company's annual meeting of shareholders. This
You guys
is
got
an
enough volume on
exciting
this? You
time
can
for
hear?
Disney.
Yeah, I
can
can
hear
hear
The
it.
company builds for the future and continues delivering
think
the
he
very
colored his
best in
beard, though.
entertainment to people around the globe. It's also a privilege
So
to
this
serve our
is Mark
shareholders.
Parker, the
And
chair
we
of
are
the board
grateful
of
for
Disney
your
Tiger.
investment at this
Wow, he's
pivotal
young.
moment of the company. Over
He's
the
actually
course of
not that
today's
young.
meeting,
He
you'll hear
I
more
think
about
he's
the
in his
company's
late
accomplishments
60s.
this past year, as well as some of the great things that are in store
I
for
guess
the
he's
future.
going with the
Disney's
wool
Chief Legal and
sweater
Compliance Officer,
zipper look, kind of
Horacio
like. We'll
Gutierrez,
see if Iger has
designated to
the
conduct
kind
the
of
business
the
portion of our
button-down
meeting.
cardigan again
I will
that he had
also hear
last
from
year.
CEO
That's
Bob
true,
Iger
yeah.
about the
I will say
tremendous
that
progress
Norgay's
he has
Bank,
made,
that's the sovereign
positioning
fund
Oh,
in
yeah.
Norway,
long-term growth
they're
and
the only
shareholder
ones
returns.
who are on
I'd like
record
to
as saying that they
acknowledge
will
our other
withhold their
independent
vote
directors who are
from
with us
Chair
here
Mark
today.
Parker.
And that's
And
Mary
Parker,
Yeah.
we have
Stafford
Parker
Katz,
in our data as
Amy
12%
Chang,
of the influence
Jeremy
on the
DeRock,
Disney board. He's
Carolyn
highly
Everson,
interconnected with the other
Michael
board members.
Froman, James
through his
Gorman,
he was
Mel
ex-CEO of
Lagomasino,
Nike,
Calvin
and I think he's
McDonald,
current chair
and
of
Derica
Nike as well.
Rice. We are so fortunate to have such a talented board. Each of these leaders brings an enormous amount of experience to their service on the Disney board, along with an
Is this, you think
unwavering
this is
commitment
live or is
to the
this?
enduring
This
strength
is
of the
taped.
company.
Recorded.
This actually
Recorded.
might be recorded.
Okay.
They
As your
pre-record the
board
first
chairman,
20 minutes.
I'm grateful to
and
Bob
then
and his
the general
exceptional
counsel for
management
Disney
team,
or the
as
assistant
well
general
as
counsel will
Disney's
come on
employees
and
and cast
discuss the
members
actual
around the
logistics
world.
of the vote.
Doug, do
Yeah,
you-
it's
I'm also grateful
interspersed
to
with
you,
recorded
our
portions.
shareholders,
I mean,
for
like,
your trust and confidence as we
earnings
help
calls are
chart
like that
this
too.
path
Like the
forward.
first,
Thank you
all
again for
this stuff
joining us
about
today,
we did
and I hope
this,
you
we did
enjoy the
that.
meeting.
That's all recorded the night before. People just don't realize it. Oh, here we go. Is this the general counsel?
This is the this is
This is the head of
Horacio.
voting, isn't it?
Horacio
He's the counsel,
Gutierrez.
Doug, how many
The meeting is being conducted.
annual
in
meetings have you gone
conformity
to,
with
Doug, in
laws of
person?
Delaware and the company's charter and bylaws.
I don't even know. I mean, I
If
try
you
to
have
go to
already
a
voted
lot,
by
but
Mhm.
nowadays
need
they're all
to vote
online
again
like
now.
this one.
For those in attendance on the virtual meeting website,
Is
if
there a
you
different
haven't yet
vibe in
voted,
person for a
or if you
7-minute
would
meeting
like
in
to
which
change
they
your
count
vote, you may
votes?
do so during
I'm
the
not going
meeting
to
by
those.
clicking vote here under the meeting materials on the
I go to the
virtual
ones where I
meeting
know the
website.
corporate secretary
following
and
the
I know
instructions
that's going to
there.
be like
Please
interesting.
note that
Like
you
they have
must submit
shareholder
any
proposals
vote
or
by
something.
ballot
like the
before the
Buffett
polls
ones
close
where they have like
at today's
seized
meeting
candy everywhere.
in order for your vote to be counted.
I
The rules of conduct
was
for
all
the
set
meeting
to go to
have
that
been
one
posted on the virtual
in
meeting
2020.
website. I would ask that
Aw.
everyone
Womp
please
womp.
respect the rules. The independent
All right, they're just
inspector of
saying
election,
now that the
Michael
that the-
Barbera of First Coast Results
everything
Incorporated,
is certified
has
and
signed an
they're
oath
laying
of
out the
inspector of
rules.
election
They have
and is
the,
present
the
today at this
inspector
meeting.
of the election.
More
which
importantly,
is-
Mr.
Matt,
Barbera has in his
Why-
possession a
Why aren't
list
we
of the
seeing him
company's
speak
shareholders
live
of
with a
record,
sweater on? Why did we see
record
Mark
date,
live but not
as certified by the
Horacio?
company's transfer agent,
I'm actually surprised we
Computer
haven't had a
Share
long
Investor
thing from
Services.
Iger yet.
The
because
notice
la-
of this
the
meeting
last
was
year, there
distributed
like
to
a
shareholders
20-minute
of
clip at
record
the beginning
as
with
of the
Iger.
record date.
yeah.
Based on the advice of our proxy
I
solicitor,
guess they're just
Innis
getting this
M&A
over with.
Incorporated, I declare, subject to a
This
final
could be the
confirmation
short- I think they're
by the
actually probably
inspector of
expecting a lot
election
of Q&A.
that
maybe
a
at the
quorum is
end.
present and that this meeting is qualified to proceed.
But do they have to?
Awesome. They have a
As stated in the
quorum.
notice of this meeting,
Yeah.
we have
all right,
10 items on
finally,
the agenda
someone-
today,
someone-
including 6
They're under
shareholder
no
proposals.
obligation to take
The first item
all
is the
the
election of
questions
12
in the
members
queue, right,
of the
from
board of
No,
shareholders?
directors.
you're not.
No.
That's a big
Each
bone of
director holds
contention
office
for
a term of
the
1
shareholder
year.
types who think that
The following
companies are like
12
manipulating
directors
things,
are nominated for election
which
at this
some
meeting
are.
by the
They're
company.
I say
definitely
let the
cutting.
meeting go on for
Here
12 hours.
South-
Let everybody ask their
Amy
question.
Chang,
Some
Jeremy
companies
Farrar,
have done that, but
Carolyn
That's kind of the
Everson,
I mean, the
Berkshire
way we
model.
did it was if we ran out of time,
James
I
Corbett,
collected the questions
Bob
and then
Iger, Mel
Each other.
either I
Lagomasino,
or someone else got
Right.
back to them like
Mark Parker,
individually.
and
But
Derica
why can't we
Rice.
make a day of it? We could all
All of
order
the
in. We
company's
can all
nominees
ask our questions.
duly
Really,
nominated.
seriously, like these are
The
publicly
board
traded
recommends
companies.
to vote for the
I
election.
do have a
Because
real
these guys have
only the
actual
12
work to do.
companies.
That's
I don't.
why.
I highly doubt that.
Plus,
You're
they have
aware
board
of
meetings. They have
only a
board
series
meetings
of
in the
private
afternoon,
management
like right after
companies
the meeting. They just go
whom
into
I
a
will
board meeting because they're all
collectively refer
there.
to as
Well,
the
they could do it at
Triangle
night.
gave
I do
notice
have
to the company of their
question
intention to
about
nominate
is
two
there a
individuals to
scenario-
serve
Oh,
as
hold
the
on, hold on.
company's
They're
board.
talking about trying
All right,
that.
here we go. Here we go. Yeah.
Blackwell's Onshore One LLC and Blackwell's Capital LLC, whom I will collectively refer to as the Blackwell's Group,
I'm
gave
okay with
notice to the company of their intention to
You
nominate
approve
3
him calling
individuals
it that?
to serve on the company's board and present a proposal. The names of those candidates have been identified in the proxy materials sent to you by the Tryon Group and by the Blackwell's Group. We hereby waive the requirement for either the Tryon Group or the Blackwells Group to formally nominate its candidates or present its proposals.
Nominate those who shall not be
I
named.
declare the nominations for
I like that they
directors
don't name
closed.
them.
Now they don't want to
At
give
this
them
time,
attention.
I would like to invite Nelson Peltz,
Ah,
as
okay.
representative of the
Nelson's going
Tryon
to talk.
Group, to
Wow,
provide
first
up
off.
to 3 minutes of
Hopefully, he
remarks.
says something about
Ooh,
a
3
Marvel.
minutes.
With
I
black
thought they'd
people.
give him more.
Sir. Thank you. Hello, everyone. This is Nelson Peltz. I'm CEO and founding partner.
Wasting time,
of
Nelson.
Tryon. We have more than $3.5 billion invested in this.
Ike has.
At Tryon, we invest in great companies.
Hopefully
that
he
for one
recorded
reason or
this in
another have
advance.
stumbled, and we seek to collaborate with leadership to make them better. There is
By
no
criticizing
doubt
them daily.
Disney is an iconic company that fits this bill. Disney has some of the greatest brands in entertainment and unforgettable
He's
theme
wasting
parks
his time.
in
Yeah.
existence.
He's wasting his 3
It's a
minutes
company
here.
that occupies a
Do you
special
think
place.
he filibusters?
in the
Do you
hearts
think he
of
goes over?
millions
It's
the
almost
three?
as if no one's ever heard of
Around the
Disney. So
world.
let
Yeah.
let me, Nelson Peltz, describe it to you.
We invested in Disney in late 2022. The company
Which
has
makes us
refocused our
long-term
course
investors. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
and
Wait.
set double-digit
That's
margin
it?
targets,
Late
for the
2022.
streaming
Was that
business.
when the magic
has
stopped?
rationalized the quantity of content under production, has announced several new
Content
ESPN
under production.
related
specifically.
initiatives, and has added 2 new directors.
I think I
However,
invested when I
Triangle
was
still has
22.
Continuing concerns about the current strategy and the current board. All we want is for Disney to get back to making great content and delighting consumers.
Yeah,
They
me
stopped?
too.
Yeah,
Me too.
I think they kind
Long-term
of
Still doing that.
for all of its shareholders.
mostly.
I hate that I'm
It's
supporting Disney here,
undeniable
but I got
the
it.
shareholders
I
have
know if Nelson
suffered
wasn't
over the last
running,
few
I'd be
years
on the
as
opposite
the
side.
stock dropped from $200 per share. While the last few months have been great for the stock, the long-term track record still remains disappointing. This is also
weren't even a
our
shareholder
second
back then.
go-round with Disney.
Yeah, good point.
We
Yeah,
hope
that is a
that
good
this
point.
time will be our
Mostly because he
last,
borrowed
and
Ike's
that
shares
shareholders
yesterday.
will not be let down like a year ago. We continue to believe that the board bears responsibility for this track record, and we believe the board needs to continue to improve its focus, alignment, and accountability.
On this, I agree.
I
I
agree
agree
board-
100%.
The board
We
shares
want to thank Jay
responsibility. Yes.
Rizzulo, who demonstrated his real love of this company by
Oh,
agreeing
do
to
you
work
country-
with
Freudian
us.
slip there. See,
you
this
little
is a MAGA
country.
play. Yeah.
And we want to thank Disney shareholders who have listened to both sides.
Not
You're
including
welcome.
Doug
Grateful
Chia.
for the
Yeah.
support and
Yeah,
the
not
dialogue
you,
with them
Doug.
during this campaign. You've made your voices heard. And regardless of the outcome of today's vote, Tryon will be watching the company's performance. We hope
As
this
will I.
campaign has had a positive impact on Disney, serving as a significant
positive?
That
catalyst.
seems like, it seems
The
like a
value
concession
creation.
speech, actually. This is what it
Just
feels
spent the
like.
last
Results
year
that
trashing
we
them.
engaged with the company last October. Disney's stock is up about 50%.
He's the reason why
and
Disney
is the
stock's
Dow's
up because of
I mean, to be-
here today.
Realistically,
What we have demonstrated in the past is that
Believe
when
that.
shareholders focus their attention
Mr.
on
Peltz,
a
you have
board,
exceeded the time
Oh.
limit.
oh,
He's finished.
Oh, there he
You
is.
they should play a little
There it
music.
is.
Get
The hook.
him off.
we hope this board meets this message. On behalf of Tryon, thank you again for your support and the opportunity to speak.
He
to
didn't
Wrap
write
it up.
that.
We
He
wish
didn't
you
write
all
it.
the
Didn't say
best
anything
to
good
all
there.
the stakeholders
He's just
of this
rocking the
great
message.
company. Thank you for my uninterrupted message.
No, it was interrupted.
He was interrupted.
Yeah, we were interrupting the
The
whole
Board of
time.
Directors does not endorse the Tryon Group nominees and
Ooh,
has recommended
ouch.
a vote against
Yeah,
the
you
Tryon
tell them.
proposal for
That's a
the
good
reasons
follow-up.
set out in our proxy statement.
Yeah.
The Blackwells Group has declined our invitation to address
What?
shareholders
Wow,
at
this
this
is your
meeting.
ultimate
Why?
marketing
Come on,
moment.
man.
Board of
Those guys are
Directors
sore
not
losers.
Blackwell
Give me a
Group
break.
Hey,
nominee
I'm pro
No,
Blackwell.
and has
This is
recommended
your
a vote against
marketing
the
moment. You
Blackwells
say
Group
some
proposal.
stuff.
Yeah.
The next item is the ratification of the appointment of PricewaterhouseCoopers
Oh,
LLP
that's it.
as the company's
That's all we're going to hear, Doug, about this
Boo.
proxy,
for the
this
current
slates.
fiscal
That's it.
year, as recommended
Well, it
by
looks
the
like it.
Audit Committee of the Board of Directors. David
must be
Johnson,
they
a
must hate
representative of
each other.
PricewaterhouseCoopers,
I
is here
mean,
today to respond
like,
to any questions.
I know we're in a measuring
The
contest.
board recommends a
a
vote for
male-only
the
measuring
ratification
contest
of the
at this point.
appointment of PricewaterhouseCoopers as the
But, like,
company's
you're not even
independent
giving them the
registered
time of
public
day.
accountants for fiscal 2024.
Well, I think
The next item
DuPont gave
is the
them more
advisory
time.
vote on
I think
executive
Target
compensation.
gave them more time.
We are seeking
I'm
advisory
actually surprised they
vote
didn't give him at least like
of the
5 minutes or
compensation of our
something.
named executive officers.
And,
And
they
the
cut 'em
board
off.
recommends
they
a vote
played
for
'em
this
off.
proposal.
But he wasted
The next
the
item
time
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
saying like
Talking about
you know
An
whatever.
amendment in the
Yeah.
statement of the
Doug, I
company's
don't know if you know the
amended and
answer to this,
restated
but do you have a
2011
sense of what
stock
percentage of
incentive
voters
plan
have not yet
to
voted
increase
at a
the
time
number
at
of
a
shares
meeting like this?
authorized for issuance.
No,
Are
they've
people
all
actually
voted.
The
waiting?
board recommends a
all
vote
voted.
for
Okay.
the approval
But
of
they
this
can still change their votes as of now, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, basically, they probably got a quorum of like 80-some%.
The full
kinda
text of the
typical.
proposal is set forth in the proxy statement.
But no one's showing
I
up to
understand that
vote
John
at the
Chevedden,
meeting
a
except annoying
representative of
people
the
like me.
shareholder, is here to present this proposal, and I would like to
It
invite
actually
him to
messes
do
them up because then they got
I
to
would
redo
ask
the
that you
count
limit
and they
the
got to get the
presentation
inspector of
to 2
elections and
minutes
stuff. So
at
people
most.
told me, "Hey, can you stop doing that? Because you're really making more work for us." Oh, here's
they
Chevette.
gave-
Proposal
They gave
5,
2
shareholder
minutes to Chevedden.
ratification of excessive golden parachute, sponsored by Kenneth Steiner. This is John Chevedden. Shareholders request that the board seek shareholder approval of new or renewed pay packages that
So
provide
I
for a
finally
golden
met Chevedden
parachute
over the summer.
with a
He was at the
estimated
Society for
total
Corporate
value
Governance
exceeding
meeting. Like,
2.99 times the
Did he have a
sum of
glow
the
around him?
Yeah, is
executive's
he all
base
the things
salary
that I imagine that he
target
kind of floats
short-term
from
bonus.
place to place?
everybody was
The
taking a
option to take
selfie
shareholder
with him.
approval
I
at
mean,
an
the
Yeah.
guy was
increase
like a
of the
rock
material
star.
terms
Like
of
people were really
golden
nice, you
parachute
know.
Yeah,
are
well, he's a
And he
lifer.
was very nice.
generous
Yeah.
performance-based pay
But like
and
everybody
sometimes
knows him as a
justified.
total crank,
Shareholder
you know, and
ratification
people
of
are like,
golden
"What? He's
parachutes for a
here?
total
I did a
He's
double
our
take."
crank, though. He's our crank.
Yeah,
Base
he's our
salary plus
crank.
target short-term bonus.
Okay,
better
but what?
align
Tell me, what is the
managed
point
pay
of this?
with
Why
shareholder interest.
reiterate what is already in the
Proposed
proxy
that
statement that they've
already
already
been
seen to
partially
vote? Why do we need to
successful
waste
and
time on
leading
this?
Yeah, I don't know.
version of this proposal.
Say something
So,
new.
but, I mean, they want some airtime.
Okay.
That would subject excessive cash
Well,
golden
because you
parachutes
don't
to a
have to
shareholder vote.
reiterate it.
I actually
In
might
fact,
have voted for this.
But
Policy is
a lot
that
of the
Disney
anti-woke
executives
ones, which
could
I'm sure we're going to hear
circumvent
next, right?
the
Like
new
a lot
Oh,
of the
oh no, no,
anti-woke
those
ones-
are going to be good.
Yeah,
Those are going to
they'll
be like
say-
Like
trans
good, you
bashing.
mean?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
won't read
proposal is
what they
relevant
wrote in
even
the
Maybe
if
proposal.
J.K.
They're just
Rowling
gonna
will
say
come out
stuff.
and say something.
Employment
It's
agreement.
gonna be an anger
Since
fest.
there is no shareholder vote if an employment agreement is
It's
revised.
too bad that they didn't have
permitting
let
excessive
these guys do
golden parachute.
videos because other
Yeah.
companies like Microsoft did that.
Places no
Yeah,
limit
this is
on
just a
long-term
downer.
equity pay or
They
any
don't even
other
put his name
dare
up on the
you.
screen. It just says proponent. Now speaking.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of
Belittling.
I think it's lame that,
But
that
this is
they don't
why-
put these people up on video. Like,
This is
it's
the
kinda like-
preeminent-
like, make it like the in-person meeting.
Doug, this
You
is
know?
the preeminent media company on the globe. And
Exactly.
they're giving him
Yeah.
a white
You're
slide with
rejecting
some
gold
black
parachute.
text that says
Please
proponent
don't-
speaking.
Isn't this
Shareholder
though the reason why
ratification of
people
excessive golden
like
parachutes,
were
proposal
saying
5.
vote for Nelson Peltz? Because like this is really sort of
The
like
board of directors
pretentious,
has
we know
recommended
more
a vote
than
against
you-ish
this proposal for the
layout.
reasons
Every
like-
set
company
out
is
in the
like this.
proxy
Every
statement.
Yeah,
company.
I'm sure
Really?
they're all like this.
The next item
God,
is
it
a
would
shareholder
piss me off.
proposal by the Educational Foundation of
Well,
America.
Matt, I mean, no companies support their
Proposal is
shareholder
set forth in the
proposals,
Proxy statement.
Hang on,
even
let me
if they
see.
agree with them.
Which one is this?
Here to
This is
present this proposal.
Educational
and I would like to
Foundation of
invite
America
her to
report
do
on
so.
political expenditures.
I would ask that she limit the presentation to 2 minutes at most.
Your line is open, ma'am.
Good afternoon. The Educational Foundation of America is a long-term investor in Disney stock. We're asking Disney not to just disclose its political contributions, as they have been doing, but to account for them, to demonstrate the company's spending is rational, strategic, and producing a positive return on investment.
Oh.
Disney's odyssey through Florida
Sounds onerous.
politics
This is a woke
in the last
one.
I don't know how you do that,
as
but
to why this kind of reporting is needed. In recent years, Disney contributed over $100,000 to an administration that took aim at Disney's employees, mocked the company's values at a national
Actually, that
level,
sounds low.
and then punished Disney by diminishing its tax breaks and degree of self-governance.
they're
There are
they're
other
talking about they
examples
give a lot of money
just
to
about
they
Disney
gave a lot of money to
Disney
DeSantis.
haven't.
Yeah, this
Our
is
company has supported
anti-woke, right,
politicians
Matt? They're all
working
No,
anti-woke.
this
No,
is
no,
woke.
this is-
This one's woke. This
Even
is
as
a social
extreme heat
justice
days
movement. They want to
steadily
know.
climb to
oh,
the
Disney
Orlando
gave
area
money to
and
DeSantis.
Yeah,
Carroll.
Disney gave
and
money
fires
to
raging in
Well,
California.
far
all
right
corporations
candidates.
give money to
Help
both
protect
sides in the
promote
states in
women's
which they
leadership
operate. I
positions
mean,
within the
If
company.
you're in the state of
that
Florida, you kind of have
You
to
give.
play the game,
yeah,
right?
of course.
pro-choice
You got to
politics
grease.
in Florida in the 5-year run-up to 2022's 15-week
And then
abortion ban.
anti-choice politicians.
Next
right?
month, a
So-
6-week abortion ban will go into effect in Florida. That is before most women even know they are pregnant. 1 in 4 women will have an abortion in her lifetime. Think of the harm to Disney's Florida workforce over the years to come. And finally, Disney has also supported politicians who promote the 2020 stolen election conspiracy theory. With this proposal, we believe it's
Yeah,
time
this
for
seems
Disney to
without
provide
some
accountability to
context here.
What,
shareholders
the entire Republican Party at this
Yeah.
point?
dollars wisely
Yeah.
Like,
It
and
is
in
some.
alignment with its core
if you've
principles and
donated
interests.
at all, you've
Thank you.
donated.
The Board
Everybody
of
except
Directors
Ronna
recommended
McDaniel,
a vote
right?
against this proposal for the reasons set out in the proxy statement.
There you go.
The next item is a shareholder proposal by the.
That would
Is
be
it a
my
binding
opposition
vote?
statement.
I would ask
It would
that
be
you
the
limit
Elon
presentation
Musk
to 2 minutes at most.
response.
Here's a second
Your
anti-woke.
line is open, sir.
This is
Yeah,
Scott
here
Shepard.
we
He's the
go.
head.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Corporations, by law, must avoid needless material risks. Maybe
Oh,
the
he
most
spoke at
unnecessary
CPAP.
become partnerships
Yes,
with
CPAC.
charities that push extreme, divisive, hot-button positions that no one
This is
honest
the hate
would
crime
call
portion
cool
of the
for
meeting.
company's business, especially if the extreme positions appall most customers.
Wait, over under.
Fiduciary duty requires
Over under
honest, full
0.9%
review of likely
of the-
No, it'll
objective
be.
risks and
I've
rewards
been
of the
seeing them
company.
come in around
If it breaks it,
1.2%.
proceed
So
anyway.
I'm
So you're
over. I'm on the
really
You
over.
can
over.
fiduciary
This
duty.
is
And in
Disney,
this-
though.
in this
I'm only under
context,
here.
It loads risks
No.
on shareholders
What's
for
he
the benefits
talking about?
only of the CEO and advancing his private
Charitable
obsessions.
contributions, but they're doing
That
that
looks like
spin where
self-dealing
it's
to
like
us.
you're giving to
And
things
does it
that are
sound
not.
familiar at all, Mr.
Oh,
Iger?
talk about self-dealing.
I
What
would
about
preach
Trump and
that it
his
told you that
little
you
charitable
hate
foundation?
Economists with force-feeding radical gender ideology to small school children. And
Oh,
The takeaway here is that
nice. Here we go.
woke CEOs
flooding away.
are
Maybe
talking
not
too much
forever,
to
but
women
for
and
years
black
after
people.
it's on power. Ditto for
Why can't they
trying to
have
destroy
a
girls'
Marvel
chances to
without
shine in their
any
own
women or
sports.
black people?
And
That's
on
the question Nelson
on.
wants to know.
But really, Mr. Iger, you had to know all that. Heck,
How are you talking
you
about
hired
Iger?
and
He's
kept
not
people
here.
who boasted they'd make Disney entertainment designed to drive away Disney's core audience. Thing is, though,
Who was
Really?
the core audience?
Who?
wasn't a
Who is he
business
said
talking
that?
to?
the
Why is he
Iger
talking
era
like he's got a
disaster
beer in his
displays.
hand?
It violates every single CEO duty to dissolve a corporation's uber loyal customer base, then try to convene a new one.
I'm guessing these guys
This is
voted for
your
Peltz.
extremist niche worldview.
He knows
We hear
that
you
like
want to fund the White
Elemental
House
is
and to go down
the
in business
most
history.
streamed
I think
thing
the
on
latter's
Disney
so
Plus.
enough,
Like
but
all the
maybe not the
stuff
way you
about
hope.
the wokeness
So yes,
and it's killing.
let's have an audit
is
of your
actually
partnering
not
record.
correct.
Count up the unnecessary risks
No
that
one's
just
doing well in the
happen
box
to push
office
your
because
private
no one goes to
agenda.
the movies because we were afraid
And
to get
hope the
sick.
brand new
Read the
faces
room. Nobody on this,
to start
nobody in this
responsibility.
meeting like agrees with you or
Fiduciary
wants to
But
hear
Doug,
from you.
that's at every company.
Iger
I mean,
record.
they're putting up these at every S&P 500 company.
All right, let's see
There, yeah.
your shareholder proposal will get less than
Recommended a vote
3%, and you
against this
can't
proposal for
resubmit
the
it next year.
reasons
How's
set out
that?
in the
Oh, that's a
proxy statement.
guarantee.
The next 2 items are shareholder proposals by the Tryon Group and the Blackwell's Group,
Okay.
respectively.
This is to
The full
retract the
text of
bylaws
each
from
proposal
Tryon
is
and
set
Yeah.
expand the
forth
board
in the
Expand the
proxy
board.
statement.
These are highly technical.
Previously noted, the Board of Directors has recommended a vote against each proposal.
I think
I wonder if they're
no
gonna even
one's
present
talking
them.
here. Yeah.
If you're voting today, you must submit your votes at this time.
Yeah, they didn't
in
even
order
bother
for them
to
be
present
counted
them
by the
because
Inspector of Election.
nobody can understand this.
Yeah,
Inspector of
gobbledygook.
Election
seven
does not
seven
consider
people
ballots,
like
proxies, or votes,
ISS actually.
or any changes or revocations.
I don't even know if they
thereof.
understand it.
So
Basically,
get
you got to be really
Good
nerdy
point.
Delaware lawyers to
We will
get what they're
pause to
talking
give
about.
anyone
That's
a
why
final
we got
chance to
Doug
vote.
That's our
Chia
fan
for this
base.
show, bitches.
Our fan base is nerdy lawyers in Delaware, though.
Is that really what it is?
All right, let's see how long they. This is big. This is Jim McRitchie's big
The poll
bugaboo
for
in
each
terms of
matter
how
to
much
be voted
time.
on at this meeting are now closed.
Closed. That was
Oh,
it. That was it.
We
That
are
was
okay.
pleased to
like
announce
40
that based on the
seconds.
tabulation
All
of our
right,
proxy
McRitchie will be
votes,
mad
it appears that the full Disney
Why,
slate
Doug?
has been elected by a
because he
substantial
wants to
margin
give people time
over
to
the
think
time
The
to
Disney
vote.
slate
after
has
hearing all
been
the arguments
elected.
before casting their vote.
But they're
Additionally,
just redundant arguments.
Plus,
three
everyone's voted already.
Yeah.
have been approved by the shareholders, while proposals 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 have failed to win shareholder approval.
Oh.
However,
so Disney
we note
slate
that due
wins,
to the
Tryon
contested
loses,
nature of this
Blackwell's
meeting,
loses.
the final result of the voting will be announced by means of the report of the Inspector of Election and will be included in the minutes of this meeting.
Wait, did he say all the directors won?
He
Final
said the
voting
Disney
results
slate won
will also be
over
reported
Tryon and
in a current
Blackwell's.
report on
All
4
right. They're declaring
This is
victory.
the preliminary
file
results.
with the Securities and Exchange Commission
Yeah.
within the next
well,
4 business.
all right.
Can we get into that now that this
That
like they're
concludes the
done
business
saying
portion
stuff that
of the
Yeah,
meeting.
that's too
matters?
bad because at a lot of companies they actually release like the results, like the actual count or the percentage.
Oh, here
So
you go.
we're not going to
This
see
is-
any actual numbers.
For the directors, I can understand that, but for the shareholder proposals, they could have announced the numbers
Right.
So
right.
and embarrassed some people. Yeah,
while we've got this on in the background because
Yeah.
it's glorious,
yeah.
we've already got accusations on Twitter from Bill Ackman that there's foul play in the vote counting.
Oh my God! Oh, stop the steal! Stop the steal!
We're doing that now, aren't we? Like,
Dude,
The new America.
kidding me?
Stop the
so
steal.
just by way of background, Bill Ackman came out on Twitter, the place where all ideas are actually good
the
ones,
the,
apparently.
the World Town Hall, yes.
And said that it was really inappropriate, that Disney must be leaking results and it's illegal and there should be an investigation.
Yeah.
When really what's happening is proxy solicitors are trying to guess the count of the
Exactly.
votes and effectively talking about like what those results are. Companies like BlackRock or CalPERS they are publicly announcing some of their votes or who they're siding with. But Ackman's now saying that is foul play, and you got
No.
into it. And LinkedIn.
No. It's all, like you said, the proxy solicitors have available information that they have a way of trying to interpret, and sometimes they're wrong. They do a damn good job, but sometimes they are wrong because it's all based on like, I don't want to say like guesswork, but it's like highly educated
like
guesses
exit polling from the actual
they do it based on patterns from past fights and all this stuff. So it's like they have a lot of data at their hands, and none of it's confidential. I mean, Broadridge gives both sides daily reports on the votes coming in, not who voted, but just volume.
Yeah, we know where your 200 votes went to already. So
Yeah, and it's like these guys take all this data and they extrapolate. They just do math. It's not.
Let me add something. In the normal democracy, when there are announcements that one side is leading, the other side worries that could help the side that's not leading because it pushes voters to support the one.
Yeah.
I'm just saying the case that could be made
look.
that if Disney is winning,
the sweater,
Bob's in the sweater.
Vote will come out.
Disney prevails. It's already all over the news.
Wait, that's what he's saying right now? Oh no.
Everywhere.
This is
It's in Reuters and CNBC. They're all saying Disney wins.
Yeah.
This is taped. Yeah, this is taped.
This is all
Actually,
recorded.
I will say, so I watched the 2023 shareholder, the AGM, and I am shocked, perpetually shocked by how much Disney owns. Like how
the properties they own? It's crazy.
Properties, the amount of things they're doing on any moment in time. Like they're not building widgets. They're designed so that when there's a pandemic, they can make money doing something else over there. Or when they're,
they can release Hamilton. Yeah.
Like,
stuff like that.
When the parks are not doing as well, their box office could be doing great. Like they are designed like sports. Like they're designed.
Well,
to
that's
do
why this
40 things at
Blackwell's
once.
break up the company thing is crazy.
Well, that's what they said. They wanted to.
Yeah.
They wanted they wanted to offload some of the assets, but they also they had some good ideas about
Offload
like
which
AI
assets
and
in
stuff.
particular?
I think they were talking about ESPN.
Well,
as
yeah,
its own.
I do worry for Disney that ESPN, now that the ESPN is getting into betting, I feel like there's something bad eventually going to happen with that property.
I mean, look, Disney used to be
Deadpool, yes.
Well, I know Nell was excited about the Deadpool trailer.
Yeah,
I
no,
think
she and I had talked about it yesterday. And I went and rewatched all the trailers, hoping that there's going to be a new one here. No,
I'm very excited. They have not talked a lot about Moana 2 yet, and I was sure that this was going to be the Moana 2 event of the year.
No, I thought it'd be Taylor Swift.
Yeah, I mean the movie's
And
already
Caitlin
out.
Clark?
I don't know.
I actually want to
Caitlin
see
Clark's
it.
everywhere.
Well, Caitlin
Moana
Clark's
2
on
or Taylor Swift?
ESPN.
Yeah.
I know what they should offload? The cruises. Get rid of the cruises. No one needs a cruise.
Well, everyone
You know
should get rid of
what?
the cruises.
Everybody I know who's been on one raves about it. when
A Disney cruise
Really?
or
The
any
Disney
cruise?
cruise?
Disney cruise. No, I mean, you would think that it'd be like, hell for the parents to have like, these characters walking around and stuff. But no, basically you can drop your kids off to do fun stuff and you go do your own thing.
You went
Oh.
and drink.
Well, no. Then what they're raving about is not the cruise. They're raving about the fact that they have no children. That's
Yeah,
really
child
Well,
care.
that's the thing though. Disney's really good at keeping your children occupied
Yeah.
and you trust them. You feel safe.
Yeah.
You know,
That's true. Well,
it's
until
not
they
like you
turn
go
them
to
all
if you went to
trans.
Six Flags, there's no way you're handing your kids over to someone who works there. No way. I mean, you'd be
No.
like, forget it.
Well,
It's like 16-year-olds who are smoking pot and carnies who are
How dare
running
you.
these things.
How dare you?
I'm very excited for the new Alien movie, but we are talking about like Disney, the corporation that turns every kid trans now, right? I mean, that's
Yeah, look at this movie.
I will say though,
And in Florida, look for
we're
that.
spending a lot of time supporting Disney here because we loathe Nelson Peltz. But I will say, to the point of Tryon and Blackwell's, is that when you look specifically at the board of Disney, they need board refreshment. It's like basically all the same director.
100%.
None of them really,
They do a
except
better
for
job.
except for the new guy from Sky, Duroc, none of them really seem to have media expertise.
No.
They all skew older. So I do agree that, but that's not what they're focused on. They're focused on other things. But
Well,
I
that's
do
the
agree
thing.
that
I think Disney has not been good in governance for a long time. I just wanted to see, show me who else you got.
no, yeah, you're right. Yeah,
Kind of
It's
like
not gonna be
everyone's
the
like,
former
I don't
CFO of
like
Disney.
Joe Biden. I want a different Democrat. It's like, okay, who are
Yeah.
you going to
Well,
put up
but-
there? Like, you
but
give me a
here's-
name, Cory Booker. I mean, come on, just tell me somebody.
Somebody.
But what's
yeah.
missing from the conversation to me is the fact that to Tryon and Blackwell's credit, see, here's the big Moana thing, but to their credit, right? They recognize that Disney's board is a highly insular board. Our data shows that 92% of them are CEOs or ex-CEOs. More than 80% of them are connected through just other boards. And none of them, until they put Derek on the board in November, had media experience. So it was
Right.
all power consolidated with Iger. That's a problem. And
No.
yet,
They should have used your data. Frankly, your
Absolutely.
data
We
supported
use
their
it.
arguments.
supported their argument. Absolutely. 100% supported their argument. And yet no one cared. They all get voted in with a 96%, 97% vote for up until Nelson Peltz comes in.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
makes a
Look,
stink out of
like
it.
I said before, it's like, there is a case for change. There's definitely, and I have not liked what they've done with kind of re-upping Iger. Iger's gone, now he's back again, all that stuff. But it's like,
for sure.
I'm just not convinced that Peltz or any of the Blackwell's people are going to come in
Right.
and they're going to change it. I mean, it's again, this send Peltz in there because he can shake it up.
Yeah.
I'm like,
which is
that's not good enough for me.
Which is also absurd on its face, given the fact that the data shows that Iger by himself, if we looked at market cap value added by everybody on the board, Iger by himself has added over 90 billion in market cap through his multiple tenures at Disney, his tenure at Nike. Peltz has added just over 6 billion, and it really just came from Procter and Gamble. Everything else was basically nothing. He's nothing burger, and that's in the last 7 years.
Did we mention that GE broke up this week?
Yeah,
There's
bad
another
timing.
one. Yeah.
Bad timing for you, Nelson.
Yeah.
I'd love to mention that. How about Nelson telling us at the beginning that he's only held shares since 2022? So what he's admitting out loud is that he bought in at the very wrong moment when they had this kind of artificial.
He bought in
jump.
to get on the board. That's what
It
he
wasn't
bought
he
in.
Okay, but
selling?
still.
Wasn't he selling now? I thought he was selling because
No,
he
it's
has he's got Ike's shares.
Yeah. He's the whole thing. That to me is the lost part of this. Peltz and Blackwell's were actually correct. This board is insular and
Yes.
relatively dysfunctional.
Yes.
And yet they complicated the changing of the board by being inefficient, not using any real data, not using any real talking points, going on shows and saying, does a Marvel need a black cast or a women only
the
cast?
thing is, with Peltz, it's like, yes, he is right in terms of they need change, but why is it like I and I alone can fix this? It's
Yeah.
like if they came up with like other independent directors, like an Ed Breen or someone like that, then it's like, okay, yeah, you're coming up with good nominees. You don't just nominate yourself. You're 81, the retirement age is 75. I don't know how, I guess they're going to have to make a waiver for that. But it's like, yeah, you got friends who could be decent directors for this particular
doubt.
company.
Not to mention that I could make the case, and I do make the case, that every S&P 500 company could use an annual board refreshment. It's not just Disney.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
So,
well,
but Matt, I mean, routinely they vote every director in every single year. So why we're suddenly focused on Disney? It's only because of one man's ego.
But the worst part to me is that, to your point, Damien, that we are forced to defend Disney because Nelson Peltz's argument was we are going to insist, that's a quote, insist on Netflix-like returns as a strategy. Now I'm looking at what Disney does and I'm thinking, wow, they're fucking geniuses at Disney, and Nelson looks like an idiot. Now I want to back the board. When
no, but
I would have said no.
But that's not true. Our recommendations, we did recommend against certain directors.
Disney board, of course.
Yeah,
of
course. We routinely do, not because there's necessarily anything wrong with those directors, but there's an opportunity. That board refreshment is an opportunity for shareholders.
Well, but they've been doing it. They have been refreshing their board. Like I said, they
person,
brought on
basically.
2 new people.
Yeah.
One of the people that Nelson Peltz wants off, Lagmasino, she's 74. She'll be gone, next year, if not before then. And so it's there is refreshment.
Yeah,
there is. But James Gorman sat on the Morgan Stanley board with Judith Miskitch and James Hance, who sat on 2 other boards with Mary Barra and Derica Rice. So did we really bring in somebody new, or did we bring in another person that's already connected with existing board members?
Well, but
Regardless
to
of the
what
fact that he's
degree?
good.
I mean, how many? That's like what, 2 degrees of separation?
2 degrees. That is my friend's. I call my friend and say, "What do you think of Bob Iger? You know him personally."
Now, that thing I want to see. This Millennium Falcon thing. That's what I want to.
Oh, I've been on that.
This is a ride.
Yeah,
I don't want to see that.
I've been on the ride. I've been on the ride at Disney. I am not a Disney person. Ironically, I know.
Oh yeah, they just bought a stake in. They just bought a stake in Fortnite.
Yeah, that's
Epic
right.
Games, right?
Yeah. So I don't know. The whole thing actually
Matt,
has
then
me
why don't
upside
they?
Down.
Then why didn't try and target the nomination committee? Why target the compensation committee of all committees?
Well, no, because he's saying that she's been complicit in overpaying Iger, and I guess in the succession planning. Basically, and then the other guy.
Has she though? And what proof does he provide of that? I don't really understand.
Well, I guess she's been there the longest, but I guess, and the other guy, I guess they say he's like useless and conflicted, something,
That's most of the board, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, actually, if anybody did a good job, it was Blackwell's in showing the board skills mismatch with Disney actually needs. Right?
No, I think they tried to come up with, like, I don't know if they are the caliber that you would put on this board, but yeah, they definitely had like the kind of like, resume type
media
stuff
experience, real estate experience.
And you're right, the caliber was the problem for them. But
like,
it's either
I'm not like crapping all over them. I'm just saying I don't know if they rose to the level of this company, maybe a different media company, but yeah.
And therein your gap. Your choice was Nelson Peltz, who just wants to shake things up and basically wants to control the wokeness of the content, because in his 130-page deck, he was proposing a content review that the board would conduct for upcoming content for Disney, which is basically, I want to make sure it's not woke. When you say
that's
like,
the thing. It's like, what's your idea? I want them to present to me, like, have a review committee of blah blah. It's like, okay, that's
Terrible
not
idea.
really.
That's how you lose. That's how you lose creative talent, though, by presenting each individual.
Well, no, it's like, but that's not a new idea that you have to join the board to do. It's like, show me what you can bring that nobody else has. I mean, the other thing is, my activist friends, they're like, no, we trust Nelson. We think he's just the kind of guy. But it's like, what, for every company that's doing poorly, you think somehow he is like this superhero who can just go in.
Well, also, Doug, correct me if I'm wrong, but they want to bring in the guy that has a public fight with Bob Iger and Ike Perlmutter. Like, isn't the rest of the Disney board, aren't they going to turn their backs to Nelson?
Well, that's the thing. It's like you spend a year basically dumping all over them and talking about how a bunch of idiots they are, and then you come in like,
and you target.
Hey,
two of them.
let's work together. But now, I guess he says that every company this has happened, and within a couple of months they warmed up to him.
I wouldn't be too sure.
He turned on the charm offensive. I don't know, but whatever.
But even your activist friends, like Nelson is the type of person who should be on this board. By what metric is that?
Yeah,
right? Like these are people who live and die by
purely
metrics.
Anecdotal.
Well, basically, a lot of it is just like chutzpah. It's like, Carl Icahn, Nelson Peltz, self-described bully billionaires who can go in there and just like whatever, be jerks or something. It's like, I don't know. That's, they're smart. I'm not saying they're idiots, but I just don't think bringing on jerky people for the sake of it is the way. And plus, Disney is not falling off the cliff.
Well, that's the funny thing about all
it's not
this.
going bankrupt.
Yeah,
like they
it's such a bizarre target.
What about like you want to go talk about company with problems? What about Boeing? I mean, there you've got like actual human lives at risk.
But this represents America and represents nostalgia in a way that a Boeing can't, I suppose. This is a true culture war moment for Nelson Peltz, I think.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is it's interesting how many companies he's gone after that have the huge retail base where it's just so hard to win. Like I don't think he won the retail base. In fact, there's no way he did.
Well, not by crapping on the company that is the beloved company that is Disney. You know what I mean? I mean, you're basically crapping on the franchise to get in the door.
The shareholders hold this stuff in their kids' accounts, or they were given the shares when they were kids. I mean, there's like so much emotion.
Except for a few MAGA cranks, most of America is not looking to restore the magic back to 1982.
The MAGA cranks sold their shares already. Yeah. I don't think Vivek has a huge position.
If I have only one thing to say, it's this. I know you're going to hate this, Matt. Why do we need a board that has both the CEO of Lululemon and the former CEO of Nike on it? Why do we need those two guys? Can't we get rid of one of them? Nike and Lululemon? Well, come on, Disney. You can do better than that.
You know what? That ends the they're going into the question portion.
Let's hear this. Let's listen to this.
You want to listen into the question? Yeah. All right.
Oh wait, we're ending. Oh wait, there are questions. Why
there are questions?
The meeting.
All right, just take it back on.
Matt, you're screwing this up.
Here's some questions. Jeez, Louise.
No, this is. Hold on. Oh, distracting proxy fight. Yep.
We're having a connection problem on the stream.
I want to hear this. Reason.
I've got the volume if you want.
Here we go.
Support and for your continued investment in this company. Now I think it's time to answer some questions from shareholders.
All right,
here we go.
I guarantee you it's going to be a cast member.
Of the meeting.
Someone's going to be like, I'm a cast member and I blah, blah, blah.
Meeting, and today in the virtual meeting platform. Let's begin.
Alexander Hamilton would have hated it.
Oh.
What is the long-term vision of the streaming assets? What challenges do you foresee in the execution?
Oh, no. This is the question.
Oh, come on.
Well, thank you very much for that question.
Thank you very much for the
streaming. We've never been more confident.
Thank you very much, computer, for
about our
asking
path
me the
to
question
creating
that
a strong,
I really wanted
sustainable
to get.
streaming business, which we believe will be a key earnings growth driver for the company.
Shareholder critics complain about, and I agree with them. This is like
a highly controlled mechanism.
Yeah. You have no idea how many questions came in, but the thing is, you're never going to.
Doug, I have the perfect idea. How about we have a shareholder representative that's voted each year to represent shareholders, and they get to run the meeting. They get to be the producer that runs the meeting, picks the questions.
Doug Chia to run every meeting.
Yeah, I'll vote for Doug every year.
That's an interesting one. I know. I've heard all kinds of ideas like, okay, let's have like kind of like the Zoom chat going down the right-hand side of the screen.
Who does that hurt? But who does that hurt?
That kind of stuff. But then you got all kinds of whack jobs saying stuff.
Well, welcome to the modern world. Yeah,
it'll be all Nazi propaganda.
Or can we have people
just like Walt Disney himself?
They can submit questions, and then people can vote them up or down the chain and stuff.
Like a Reddit,
I'm like, these are all interesting ideas. I just not sure it's gonna work.
Well, I know Matt hates this, but I am a proponent of having at least one shareholder or employee representative on all American boards. So this could solve that in a sense. I mean, there's no reason that the company will still figure out how to control it behind the scenes, but there's no reason why these annual meetings can't be a
Special
bit more
place and
shareholder
deserve to
friendly.
be maintained, restored, and treasured
Like
for the
Berkshire
next
Hathaway.
generation and generations to come. How is Disney striving to restore the perks, service level, and details that truly make a Disney theme park experience special?
Another
Restore the
painful question.
magic.
The reason
Well,
why
that-
one of
that's
the
a
reasons
great
why
question.
Warren Buffett
As
is
I mentioned
so
before,
beloved and famous is that he transformed the annual meeting at Berkshire to become a more inclusive event.
Can you imagine if Disney ran their shareholder meeting exactly the way Buffett does? I mean, like it would be a
Oh, no, it'd be
merchandising
a
heaven.
freaking party. Yeah.
Well, right.
It'd be the
Yeah.
biggest. It'd be the biggest corporate party in
You'd be
the
doing it
history
in a
of
Millennium
corporate parties.
Falcon.
You'd actually have the shareholder meeting in the middle of basically what is a Comic-Con, and
Yeah.
everyone,
That'd be
every
great.
nerd, they'd be cheering.
Why is this
at the
bad? Why is that
questions.
bad, man?
Oh,
Why
I
is that
love
bad,
it.
though?
I
I
think this
mean-
is
No,
your
no,
greatest
I
idea
think
you've
they
ever
should.
had.
I
Yeah.
think they should, especially like a company like Disney that has such a fan base. You know, it's like these people, you're going to have a friendly audience. I don't know what you worry about.
And Bowen can do it next to a broken door on the side of the highway.
You know what I really want? I actually want somebody who's cosplaying at a Disney, Comic-Con to do the Q&A. I want them to
I always
run
thought,
the Q&A.
isn't Bob Iger cosplaying? Isn't he a bit of like a Ken doll?
Well, he was wearing a button-down
It's opening
sweater.
up in Orlando in 2025. Why
speaking of
hasn't
Ken
Disney
dolls,
prepared anything or
what-
placed more than just a handful of attractions in the pipeline to be ready for this in 2025 at Walt Disney
So,
World?
Doug, do you have any insight
Well,
into
thank
how
you
they
very much for
select
your
these
question, but
questions? Is
it
it, or
just
is it
couldn't
just
be
completely
further from-
controlled by the
Yeah,
corporation?
these are the way it sounds like they're being cherry picked.
Okay.
Yeah, well,
So
Well, the thing is, like they told people they could send questions in ahead of time.
okay.
So then they had a whole bunch of questions. They kind of, mashed a bunch of them together that essentially asked like the same thing, or ones that they just like conveniently didn't want to answer or whatever. But yeah, this is another one of these like, yeah, the company's kind of, they're not being completely transparent in terms of every question that came in.
Right.
But
So
to a certain extent, if they get like 10 questions on like climate change or the parks, they kind of have to just give one answer. And they give a scripted answer because they're like, that's better, that's more thought out than a unscripted answer. But the critics want to see the unscripted answer. They
I'd
want
like
to
to
see
at least
Bob
see
up
Bob
there
though.
on the spot.
Can we
It's
at
not
least see
unique to
Bob
Disney, right?
live? We have to see.
Well,
a
that's the
picture of
other
him?
thing. It's like they could have him on screen. It's like there's no reason why they can't. It's not like, you know what? We don't have the technology. We just don't have the bandwidth for
I mean,
video.
I mean, Doug, on ESPN, their ESPN, right after like a NCAA tournament game, they have the young women sitting at the podium crying, trying to articulate what it's like to lose and what to go through this experience. Maybe some of them are graduating college and never play basketball again. They put them right there front and center, and Bob is hiding behind a picture of himself.
Yeah,
Like, it's
no,
kinda
this is,
crazy.
I mean, this is definitely the bad part about these virtual annual meetings. The only good thing is that we get to sit here and watch it from, Portland, Maine, mid Connecticut, and central Jersey. So
Each of their films beyond younger people who may gravitate more to animation, etc., to reach more middle-aged and older people.
Older person films.
Well,
Older
thanks for
people
this
film.
question.
Up,
The
right?
creative output of our film studios is something I'm acutely focused on right now. And looking across all of our outstanding studios, we make content for audiences of all ages, and this year's slate of theatrical and streaming releases showcases that perfectly. Hitting theaters
This
first
was
are
just
the
a
next
planting question
installments
so we
of
could talk about what's the trailers that they have, basically.
Didn't they have a well-known animated movie about called Up, right? About two old geezers.
Yeah, they're saying no more animated movies for old people.
Why?
I don't know. I mean,
I like what old people
So
like
the
that.
old people get to go to Alien Romulus.
Deadpool.
Because my grandmother's
Deadpool.
really
Geriatric
excited about
Deadpool.
the next Alien movie. Marvel's first R-rated movie.
yeah.
I don't like that.
Well, Disney Marvel, Deadpool
Yeah,
was
right.
R-rated, but made before the Disney
I was gonna
acquisition.
say,
Fox
yeah,
closed.
isn't
Values and
Deadpool
norms
extremely
change.
vulgar?
How does the Walt Disney Company
Yes.
balance the task of evolving with the times to create timeless content that appeals to the current generations while still preserving its
diversity
legacy of
question.
rich traditions of human connection and original storytelling?
Are those mutually
Thank you for that
exclusive?
question.
I'm
I don't
sorry.
I
know.
said before, Walt understood
We
that
hire only
storytelling
writers
is
from
the power to
BYU.
connect us all to one another. And even after all these years, we're still guided by the same core ideals of respect, understanding,
Now
and
it sounds,
compassion,
now
and
it
an
sounds
unwavering sense of optimism.
contemporaneous. This doesn't sound
In fact,
recorded.
our stories continue to celebrate heroes, emphasize the value of family and friendship, and instill a steady faith that tomorrow can always be brighter
He's
than
No,
reading.
actually,
today.
no, it sounds
He's
like he's
reading.
reading.
Our visionary
Yeah, he's
storytellers
reading.
draw on their own
Well,
lives,
that's why we're not seeing him
experiences,
live, right? Because
to
he
create
is
content for all
reading,
audiences
probably.
that
Yeah.
captures the beauty of the world around us.
Also,
We're a
notice how
storytelling
he only
company
appears when the
first and
lighting is
foremost,
really, really great.
and we will always
And
be
sitting in
guided by a
conference room
desire to
D,
create exceptional
you're gonna get those
stories and
overhead lights
characters
that make you
that
look like
audiences all
93
over the
years
world
old.
can connect with.
I hope they don't call him conference room D. I hope it's like
In
conference
September
room Goofy or
2023,
something.
Mr. Iger and Mr. DeMauro announced a $60 billion investment in the Disney Experiences division. This led to much excitement and speculation among Disney fans about what would change
This
or
is
what
silly.
additions might come to the parks.
This is why I
So
wasn't
far,
going to cover
there
it.
has
More
been no
hand
announcement of
sanitizer.
what the investments are.
Sparkly hand sanitizer.
All we have been given is a lot of blue sky ideas
All
at
right,
D23 and other
here's a
events.
real question.
Will
that
there
they
be
didn't
any
edit.
announcement soon of what we will see in the investments?
You know, we have a lot of projects in development. Many of them are known to us, but we disclose these at a
This is-
cadence and when we
no,
really
this
feel
This
we're
is
ready,
a question
and
that
we have
just came
something
in,
more
and he's
tangible to
answering
show
on the
people.
spot. That's for
He's like,
sure.
I'm not telling you.
Does the company provide any mentorship opportunities for high school
No,
students?
next story.
Oh,
Next
yes,
question.
I
they
appreciate the
do. They
question, but
groom
we-
them to be trans. Didn't you
That's
hear the
true.
shareholder proponent? I mean,
Certainly,
come
we
on.
Groom
believe
them to hate
strongly in
Harry
the
Potter
importance of
novels.
creating opportunities for the next generation, and we're proud to participate in numerous other activities aimed at opening doors for young people.
We even
We're,
take
we're proud,
fans of
obviously, of
DC.
our track record in terms of
Somebody explain to me how he can take one that seems like a question that came in, he's answering it, and then the next one he's reading again.
Well, and the one that
Yeah, I don't know.
he tried to answer without his notes, Matt, he just said, "We're not going to tell you."
I'm not.
Like,
I'm not
we-
telling.
Well,
he
that's the
said-
thing. That's why
he said
people
we
say
know, but
that.
I'm not going to tell you. Yeah.
That's why they're like, give us the questions in advance, and we'll give you a better answer instead
Yeah.
of giving you a non-answer. But
I'm not telling. I like that.
Stay out of political and social agendas
Uh-oh.
and just
Uh-oh,
provide
here we go.
entertainment.
Here we go. I'm
our
entertained
job
by
is
social
to entertain
agendas.
first and foremost, and by telling great stories, we continue to have a positive impact on the world and inspire future generations, just as we've done for over 100 years. Disney has always been and will continue to be a source of hope, joy, and optimism for people of all ages. We're committed to telling
He's
stories
reading.
that reflect the world around us
Yeah,
and using those stories to entertain people from all walks of life. I've always believed that we have a responsibility to do good in the world, but we know our job is not to advance any kind of agenda. So as long as I'm in the job, I'm going to continue to be guided by a sense of decency
Which
and
is
respect,
forever.
and we will
I'll be
always
there
trust
forever.
our
They're trying to
instincts.
make it forever.
How do you think about women's sports within the ESPN portfolio?
Wait, what kind of question
Really?
is this?
Well, I've actually never been more bullish
How
about
do you
women's
feel about
sports, and I think
yeah, I'm bullish on
Works,
them.
Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, it's like right
Yeah,
now.
I
everyone
pray.
is
I
literally
pray to
watching
Caitlin Clark every night this year. I mean, as you
the
should.
most relevant thing going on
I'm
right
not
now.
sure they're going to be putting a lot of money into the WNBA, but you know.
No, well, but the WNBA is also broadcast entirely on ESPN, I think.
Until
Is it?
Caitlin
I
Clark
don't know.
joins the WNBA, in which case,
Yeah, no, she will. She is.
No,
So-
that's their property.
arrived, but their potential is so tremendous. And ESPN is pleased to be part of that and expects to
And you
be
can
part
bet
of
on
the
it.
growth of women's sports for years to come. In
Woo,
fact,
make
it
rain.
recently announced an 8-year extension of its rights to the NCAA championships, which includes a lot of women's sports, including women's basketball. So we're very bullish on women's sports and look forward to more on ESPN.
Why do we need all women's teams, though? That's what I want to know.
We have
Yeah.
time for
On
one
any
last question.
ESPN.
Will
Come on,
other
guys.
Taylor Swift concerts be added to Disney Plus, like the Reputation Stadium tour?
This has been on my mind.
Well, we're
gotta ask
actually
her.
thrilled that we were able
How
to
is
reach
this at
an
a shareholder meeting? This is a question. This is
Well, look,
this-
I mean, I'm okay with it if it's genuine.
Yeah, well, yeah, but the thing is, here's the thing. They started at noon. They're ending at what, 1:55? They've got tons more questions in the queue that they could go through.
No, has
and
it
they've
really
got
been
time.
2 hours? Has it been 2
They have
hours?
time.
no.
I-
It's been
I
an
still
hour
say you
our
s-
time.
I say you sit there and you answer every question. You just Bob
in our
just sits
company
there
and look forward to more
answers.
engagement
7
in the
days
future.
later.
And thank you
yes.
very much. The meeting is now concluded.
Oh, the meeting's concluded.
Oh, man.
That's it?
It's like you
Wait a
remember those.
minute.
Attending to
Remember those long lines of the elections, like in Georgia? They would stay there all night to make sure that each and every person in that line who was there before the polls closed would be able to vote. It's the same thing to me.
They ended the meeting on the Taylor Swift question.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, she's
Yeah.
very popular, Matt.
You know,
Come
they got to end on a
on.
positive note. But, you know, the thing is, in past years, they actually took live calls.
Uh huh.
You know, and people speaking like, "Hi, this is whatever. This is Damien from Maine. You know, I just want to thank
God,
you."
what a
blah,
terrible
blah, blah.
live call.
And it's like,
Don't
I
diminish
don't
me.
know why they didn't do that this year. Some companies do that, not that many
Pretentious
though.
year. Maybe they're afraid of
That's
afraid of
an accident.
trolls. I don't know what they're afraid of.
Well, no, they can screen the calls. I mean, they can also cut off the mic. They can, you know, they can do what they do on at WFAN. They just like
Yeah.
hang up on them. You
I
know,
Well,
love that.
I
I
mean,
would
you
love
have-
that.
You hopefully have insight into this, Doug, but I imagine that the investor relations, the entire Disney team that's responsible for this are absolutely exhausted, right? I mean, they might just want to be done with this so fast to throw away all the paper, all the filing.
yeah,
and
they
just move
are.
on it.
That's what I was like too. But I knew that I had tomorrow to
Yeah.
like sleep in. You know,
I can just say I can see why they didn't program this extraordinary event today. They're probably just like, can this please be over?
yeah, that could be true in
I-
terms of the bandwidth they had. They're just like, yeah, can we just be
April
done with this
4th
stupid
is going to
thing?
be their celebration day because Nelson is gone. I mean,
Can I?
Yeah,
can-
no, he's not gone though.
that's
He's
true,
not
that's
gone.
true.
Plus,
There's always
plus,
Twitter,
I
there's
want to
always
see.
Twitter.
I am very. I guess we got to wait 4 business days for the votes,
right.
unless they get leaked.
Ooh, that would be a.
Whoa.
We need the SEC involved if that happens.
Let's wrap this up so it's not a 7-hour Disney episode. First of all, thanks to Doug Chia for actually being the adult in our room. To the extent that
I don't
you're
know what
the
that
adult.
means. I don't know what
I'm
that
not sure about that, man.
But Doug, wrap us up. What's your final takes on this? I mean, I think it was expected, but anything surprising, any hot takes
wasn't
coming out
necessarily
of this?
expected.
No, the hot take was that I guess meeting way more boring than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
I thought they would have given Tryon more time. Frankly, I think they should have.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe give. Oh, I guess Blackwell's
They
declined to
declined,
speak. They were too busy like running back with their tail between their legs.
Apparently.
Oh.
But no, I mean, there's gonna be like this ain't the end. It's kind of like there's gonna be all kinds of like post game analysis.
Mhm.
What's Pelt's gonna do next? There were already rumors last night of like, oh, there's a woman who might be the successor
Yeah,
to Iger.
Dana Walden.
Yeah, I
I'm
saw
sure
that,
that,
yeah.
was conveniently
leaked,
released
yeah.
last
Mhm.
night. It's kind of like, okay, in case voters, in case you don't think we have a succession plan,
Yeah, it
Yeah,
worked
we'll
on
give you
me.
a
I
little
got excited about
hint.
it during yesterday's show. The
Until I
the
killed
first
it.
female
Yeah.
CEO in Disney history. I was excited.
Yeah,
So,
I was happy I could kill it for you.
no, I also expect. I think whatever the vote is, it's not going to be great, right? It's not going to be like 50-50 or something like that. But 2 of those directors are going to kind of stand out, and
Mhm.
I
What would
would
be
not
surprisingly
be
low?
surprised. I would not be surprised if, you know, in a couple months, it's like someone decides that they're gonna like hang it up early or
Yeah,
whatever,
sure.
and they're gonna bring a couple more people on the board, combined with you know, a dividend hike or a buyback or some kind. Like they will do some like kind of cosmetic things and other things to make various people happy.
I'm
I
already
don't think they
seeing-
can't do that.
I like
I'm already
that.
seeing
I
some
like that.
reporting. This is out of Bloomberg that Bob Iger received 94% of the vote, and Nelson Peltz received 31%, which is actually higher than I thought he would have received. So that's from Bloomberg, 31% for Nelson Peltz.
Yeah, I guess
That
31.
sounds leaked and illegal.
Yeah, well, go after Bloomberg.
No, I think Ackman's spreading rumors here, but yeah, in the 30s, I'm not surprised.
Well, you had
mean,
ISS,
the thing
right?
is, like,
you had CalPERS, you had Nelson's shares himself, right? All four
you had
Peltz.
Neuberger, Berman,
Right.
Yep.
I mean, you had some, but the thing is, like, the way, and it's classic. The media was portraying this as like, oh my God, it could come down to like a couple people in Dade County, and
Central
and it's
Jersey.
just like, I was like yesterday, I was like, this isn't going to be as close as people think it's going to be. This is not like
ISS made it a little bit closer. I would say.
When we get
no, and
reports
don't
about the
forget
hanging
Egan Jones.
chads.
Egan Jones really tipped
They
the
got the
balance.
central Pennsylvania vote out.
I'm excited for the hanging chads. Final question for Doug before we wrap. Do you think your votes, the time that Tryon spent talking to you on the phone, was what really tipped the scales for them losing? Like they just wasted their time with you.
Yeah.
Is that possible?
I am very glad they called. I thought we had a great discussion. I give them a lot of They didn't need to call me. That's for sure. Like,
tell them to call us. We have
Yeah,
some data
tell
we
them
can
to
sell
call
them.
us.
They can
just
actually use our
totally
data.
call me. And it was a week before the meeting. Frankly, they probably should be on the phone with like Cal Stur. Like, I want to know how did Cal Sturz vote?
Right.
That'd be
Yeah.
usually they usually puff their chest out. They didn't this time.
Maybe they were ashamed because they voted for Peltz.
No, I think they voted for Peltz. They've been big Peltz fans over the years.
Really? Is that right?
Yeah.
Well,
In
look,
Pepsi,
again, to
Pepsi, they were,
Peltz's, to Peltz's credit, I think that there needs to be there absolutely does need to be some board refreshment at Disney. I don't think it should be Jay Rasulo and Nelson Peltz, but and if he had come up with more credible candidates that weren't members of his family or guys who sit on the boards of radio companies, radio people, then maybe I would have listened, but he came up with two duds.
Well, it's like right message, wrong messenger. I guess that kind of falls into this category.
Right. And a misogynist racist
Well,
jerk.
the FT interview was a huge mistake.
That had to kill him.
Mistake. I mean, his PR people and whoever he hired like as their PR, they must have been like, oh my God, why did we let this happen? This is so bad.
I thought maybe it was secretly super strategic because he was betting on like any MAGA crowd types who own shares.
And how many many people is that, Matt? Like what percentage is that? Because don't forget, in the last few weeks, we've learned that after apologizing for voting for Trump in 2020, he is now supporting Trump again in 2024. So all this is coming out. And you think retail investors at Disney are
just saying? Look,
there's no way they're supporting Trump.
I'm just saying
that was so dumb. That was so dumb to comment on like all black cast. I mean, when he said like, why do we need an all black cast? Just stop listening right there.
Yeah. Especially when you're pointing your finger at one of the most successful movies in the history of the world.
Look, if you want to be on P&G's board and criticize movies for being woke, fine, but you can't be on that movie company's board and grilling Kevin Feige like why are we doing Shang-Chi 2? Like who are these freaking people?
Yeah, it doesn't go over well. Damien, any last thoughts from you other than I know you never want to talk about this again?
Yeah, my last thought, once again, is do we really need a white guy from Nike and a white guy from Lululemon on the Disney board? Come on, what are we doing here? Everyone's missing the really important story here. We don't need two sportswear CEOs on one media company's board. I'm sorry, we just don't.
Because I am the MC. The real last thought here is...
Thank you, Doug.
Why did no one use any real data for any of these votes now or prior?
We're offering it.
They should have used your data, man.
For Christ's sake.
Should have used it.
We'll give it to you for free. Just call us.
If they had put that in their deck, I thought that would have been really useful value-add information. I'm not just saying that because you guys pay me.
I wish we could afford to. That's Doug Chia. Thank you so much for the
All right,
time.
man.
This was awesome. Everybody, that's Damian Hazelnut Rollis. I am your analyst, Matt Mascardi. We are Free Float. Come back. We have a proxy countdown tomorrow, and we've got a show again on Friday. We just nonstop shows.
Talk about Airbus
tomorrow. Yeah, but we'll see you then. Until then, goodbye.
All right, man. Thanks, guys.